It was very difficult, but I had a friend, and she came to stay with me before I went to the ghetto. Her name was Bronya, and her maiden name was the same with my name. And we got very close. Of course, she was older. She came from Austria. They killed her husband in 1938, and she was born in Poland, so she has to come back to Poland. But she had two daughters, 12 and 10 years old, and that was a free immigration to London for Jewish children at the time in 1938. And she sent those two girls to nobody but to London. And I was very close with her, and she had a very strong willpower to live. Her determination to survive was so great that it had a lot of influence on me, because she wants to see her children, and she said she has to see her children, and she will see her children. And she had a lot of influence, and that's probably that courage. Her courage gave me a little bit too, and it was very hard. And because I came really from a very poor home, and not starvation, but we didn't have any luxury, so I gradually got used to this kind of life in the ghetto too. The coldness, and was very cold in wintertime, and with the food, and we tried to survive. I was in Ravensbrück 2 months, and every day I have to go to work. One day I was very sick, and my friend, and I didn't want to leave the barracks because I didn't feel good. I had fever, and I didn't care. So she broke the window and she pulled me out. She said, "You know what will happen to you if you will not?" Because they had the ovens, the big chimneys, and the smell, we could smell every day in Ravensbrück. So she pulled me out, and I sat on a brick in between, because we have to stood in the morning 2 hours to be counted. So I was sitting on the bricks, and it looks like I was standing up because I couldn't stay. And I went to work, and I got better. And after 2 months, we went to the labor camp.
She saved you.
She saved me many times. She saved my life. The devil pulled me out from there, because in the morning we have to leave the barracks, and they locked the doors. And many times I gave up, because I know I left my mother in the ghetto sick on the floor, and she was holding on to me, and the Germans pulled me away from her. And my little brother, I was still with him to the last day. They took him away, and they put him they formed 2 lines in a courtyard. And they put my little brother in the line with the old sick people, so I know he will not survive this either. And I knew my family was going, so I gave up, and I really didn't care if I live or die. But she pushed me to it, and she was had so much influence on me.
That's right. We were together. We were, everybody had our partner. My partner was Harry Sanders. That means if we find a little, like one time he did get a soup that was in camp, and he had a big bone like this. And he was licking, so he gave me a couple of times to lick. He kept this bone maybe for 2 weeks.
A bone?
A bone. That's right, a bone. A bone for meat, And the bone was already dry, but I will never forget it. He kept it, and he was my partner, sort of. And I could have a lick, he could have a lick. Yes.
In the death marches, anybody who couldn't walk stayed back. They shot him. There's no question about it. You could hear, So two friends of mine, they've been walking in the front, and I see them fall back. So I told them, don't go to the back, you just stay in the front. And that's the best place, So I've been holding up and carrying them for a long time. And finally they told us to go in a field. We're going to stay overnight. And they opened up and we stayed in there overnight. They had machine guns all set around. And in the morning, we had to get up, no food, no nothing, just march again.
And you were with your cousin at this point.
I had my cousin, and we were liberated in the same place.
So you went through the war together?
All through the march, the death, everything, we were together.
Did it give you strength?
He gave me strength, and I gave him strength. We both said we're going to go through, we're going to go back to the place, but we didn't want to go back to the place.
To the place?
To Poland, back to Poland. We didn't want to go back.
At the end of the
war? He went to Israel, and I haven't seen him to about a few weeks. I had a call, when he called me up, said he's in Canada. So we're supposed to meet soon.
Well, she wasn't only my guardian, she was my best friend. It still is. Because we only had each other, that's all we had.
You told me once that Anne was always the brave one, that you were always the scaredy cat.
Yeah, Anne was always brave. She used to run in the doghouse and play with the dog, and she was just more tomboyish, I guess, than I was. I was more afraid than she was. She was more like my daddy. I'm a lot more like my mother, I think. And I even had the fear here, too, when I came here. It took a while to get over it. I always thought somebody was chasing me or coming to get me or my kids, so I had a hard time with it.
And there was one time here in New Orleans, long after the war, when you're an adult, you have children, and you're at a friend's house, you're playing a Chinese game.
I was already here a few years. I was married by then, had a child, and I was even afraid when I had my first child that somebody was coming to kidnap her. I had a very bad incident about that. Somebody was knocking on the door. It was late at night, and I went into hysterics. I thought they were coming to kidnap. It took me a long time to get over that. Of course, it wasn't anybody that had the wrong house, but I didn't know that. Anyway, I was in my friend's house playing this game, and it's a Chinese checker game. And we heard this big knock on the door, like banging with their fists. It's what the Germans used to do when they came looking for Jewish people. And my instinct was to jump in a closet. I automatically went in her closet, in her broom closet. I got so scared. And everybody, there were 5 of us, everybody says afterwards, "Why did you jump in the closet?" I said, "I don't know. Nobody else jumped in the closet. Nobody else went running. Only I did."
It was a reflex.
It was just automatically when I heard that banging noise on that door, go hide. So I did. But I guess in the back of your mind, things like that just stay with you. You just cannot get over certain things. You just can't get over. And that's one of them.
You survived this war of destruction. 1.5 million Jewish children were murdered across